notification in my on my Streamlabs. Cool. Anyway, hey everyone, welcome. This is Ben with the Tiger's Den, coming back with some more Magic the Gathering content. So, how's everyone doing? Hope you've been well this past week. We've got the standard metagame challenge going on right now, so if you are a high roller and would like to try to win 3-4 more games before you drop one, drop a couple of packs worth of dollars or coins in there, give that a try. We're not going to be doing that tonight because that sounds like a recipe to make terrible misplays due to trying to stream and then losing your money. So, not all about that. But anyway, that should be enough of a little buffer for the start of the video. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about this Royal Teamer deck. So if you've been keeping an eye on our channel, you will have seen that I did a deck tech for this video just a couple hours ago. Actually, it was uploaded. I recorded it Tuesday, so like 5 days ago. So there's a dated piece of information in there, and I apologize for that. But yeah, so we just did a deck tech on that. If you want to check it out, that just went up if you're watching this afterwards. So today is October 12th. So you can go back into our channel on the playlist and in the Magic playlist and check it out there if you want to see more detail about this deck and kind of what we're trying to do here. But to give you the short version, we're playing this rampy, somewhat aggressive, but not true aggro teamer list here. It's largely built around having these Monodorks, once upon a time to find the Monodorks, and then a bunch of really good planeswalkers, notably the Royal Scions and Oko Thief of Crowns in the 3 slot that we can hopefully gem out on turn 2, and then maybe get, a questing beast the turn after that and just ride that to the win. We have Sarkhan and Skargan Hellkite giving us additional reach, which with effectively haste, because Sarkhan lets these guys attack if they were out already, so that's sort of like attacking with haste. And then a nice reactive sideboard here where we can counter lots of big things, we can stop our guys from being removed, we can wipe the board. Flamesweep, of course, missing not killing anything in our deck, so that's sweet. So all really cool stuff, and I think we'll just run it through some best of 3s for now. I did actually run this through the standard metagame challenge yesterday and today. I made it up to 5 wins, and then went, okay, it's late, I'm tired, I'm going to misplay, called it, and then came back and lost in 3 games to Golos Field, which I've never lost to before with this deck. Lost a game 2 where we couldn't find any threats, and then a game 3 where our opponent actually boarded into a very powerful sideboard package of multiple Aethergus and Mystic Disputes, and I don't know if that was to hedge against this deck, which is starting to gain in popularity now, or if that's just a thing that they were running generally, or if that's the meta. I don't know what the sideboard meta is for Golos Field, but so yeah, made it to the 5-1, so got an extra 1,000 gold and 10 packs, which was pretty sweet, but I'm not going to do that now. I actually thought that you could get 2 wins before you're kicked out of this, and now that I know that it's just 1, it's like it's just the amount of pressure that exerts on my soul is more than I want to deal with right now. Okay, traditional standard play. Not doing ranked because I take really thorough notes on ranked, and you don't want to watch me do that. But maybe I'll look at doing that in the future and like record notes afterwards or something like that. So here we go, Royal Teamer traditional standard. Let's roll it up. We'll see how it works. So if you haven't watched the deck tech on this, that loss that I had in the event today was the first time I've lost to Golos Field, and I have yet to lose to an aggro deck with this in probably close to 40 games now. Of course, now that I say that, if you've been keeping track of my win rates with different decks, I think I'm actually okay with this on the play, because we have a really nice curve here and we have a Temple of Mystery. Normally I would probably want to find a better turn 2 than no turn 2, but yeah, we'll keep it. We'll see how it goes. Live dangerously. There's nothing on the line here. Anyway, those of you who are keeping track of my no thanks. Keeping track of my win rates and things like that will probably notice that I do worse when I am playing on stream than I do when I'm not playing on stream. And yeah, that's how it goes. So I feel like I don't really want to play the big stakes things when I'm sitting here holding a conversation with myself. That bodes really well for us, because that means they're going to have minimal pressure for our Oko. But yeah, so not feeling like that's where I want to be right now, streaming and also risking, putting in the big risk. So, in my experience, this has been one of the toughest matchups for this deck, this green-black or sometimes Jund Adventures list, because they usually have enough removal to keep us on the back foot, and then they can grind very, very powerfully after that point. So, yeah, this is gonna be tricky for us, especially because we didn't have anything on turn 1 or 2. So I think what I like here is let's just drop down the Oko, make a food, fog some damage, and then start getting in Questing Beast hits. After hopefully... Because we have a very nice hand now, so I don't really feel like I want to Royal Scions and start looting, because most likely Royal Scions +1 right now is put the top card of your library into your graveyard. Which... isn't as good as making a nice banquet and then throwing the banquet at your opponent's face.
You're a tricksy one.
It's very good that we were on the play here. If we were on the draw, well, if we were on the draw, I probably would have mulliganed that hand to begin with, but on the draw with that hand, we would be in a markedly worse place right now than we presently are. So opponent went with both of these guys. That keeps our Oko from swapping here, which is quite good for them. Alright, we got our 5th land. That's awesome. So, yeah, I like shocking this one in. I like playing Questing Beast. And then do I want to attack in? Yeah, I want to attack in with a food. Put as much pressure on them as possible, especially while their Death Toucher is tapped down.
I invite you to change your ways.
So they can jump to 3/3, which is probably okay for them here, honestly, because they have plenty of 1/1s for their Lovestruck Beast to be able to attack in. There's a very good chance I just turn their Lovestruck Beast into a 3/3 so that it can't tangle with our Questing Beast. There could also be a line there, too, where I Royal Scions and then try to hit them with as much damage as possible off of Sarkhan the turn after that, but I think that this is better because effectively we're getting in the same amount of damage by getting in the 4 off of Questing Beast here. Oh, they just Murderous Rider. That's fine. This will come in untapped because it's their 4th land. Yeah, I think the Questing Beast line is good because that also stops them from attacking in with Innkeeper. Alright, so what do we want to do here? I think that I like going Scions to force damage through on the token, and then play the Goose after combat. If that keeps up green. Great. Actually, I guess I want to force through damage on the Questing Beast. They can trade with the token if they want to. Because, yeah, they have their Death Toucher back. Okay, they do not get got by the first strike. You get a fair number of free wins off this deck, I've found, just by people not noticing that the first strike plus Death Touch between Questing Beast and the Royal Scions buff is as good as it is. Hey, it looks like our puppy's coming by to say hi. She's too low to the ground, so you can't see her, obviously, but she wants you to know she's there. Her name is Evie. She's very sweet. Okay, so they get to draw some cards here. If they hit a land, then they can get this guy down for an extra blocker, but of course won't be able to block Questing Beast. So unless they can remove Scions or Questing Beast here, I think they're just pretty much dead, because we'll be able to... No, actually, Sarkhan plus Scions is lethal right here. Oh, Evie, what is it? What is it? Do you want to go outside? I might have to let the puppy outside in a second. She just had supper, so she probably has to go potty now. Alright, so I think the opponent just dies here, and this is one of the strengths of this deck, is we can just jam down the Sarkhan. Sarkhan turns the Scions into creatures. Now the Scions are a creature, so they can buff themselves. And now we kill them. Alright, I'm gonna let Evie out quick. Okay, so how do we want to sideboard here? Veil of Summer is really nice because when we blank their adventure spells, that actually fizzles the spell entirely and they can't recast it later. Stroke is like, Flameseed can actually be good for getting rid of their little dudes. All their 1/1s that need to trigger their Questing Beast attacks. Questions, what do we go down though? Because I like the Veil of Summer. It's a very good tempo play for us. Sometimes I like having... I think maybe we bring in like 2 Flame Sweeps. You don't want to go too reactive, I've found, with this deck. Maybe do that in place of the Domries. The problem with going too reactive with this deck is that then you just can't close out the game fast enough. I don't think I actually like the full set of Veil of Summer, so let's trim one of those. Wicked Wolf is a little bit awkward here because a lot of their guys are bigger than it can fight down easily. And then let's just trim one Once Upon a Time maybe, now that our threats are more targeted at them. The big reason for the Once Upon a Times, of course, is to get a turn 2 Planeswalker out, because that gives you an extra 5 shots at hitting a Monodork. But, Alright, I feel like this is probably much too slow for being on the draw. Oh, yuck. Okay, well, I mean... we have the Once Upon a Time. So if we can Once Upon a Time into a green land, we're feeling decent about this. Do I throw back the Sarkhan or the Hellkite? I mean, if we get to 5 mana at any point, that's great. The Sarkhan probably has higher upside, and if we want to find a Hellkite, we can find one off of Once Upon a Time later in the game, so I think that's what we're doing here. Outside of very specific circumstances, never ever ever cast Once Upon a Time before you draw for turn. That was terrible. Because you will... the information that you get off of the card that you draw for turn could change what you decide to keep off of Once Upon a Time. Alright, so I think I'm putting in Grazer here so that we can scry right now. And we don't have anything to bootstrap into with Gilded Goose Food at the moment, so yeah, I think that this is what we want to do. Get the land down there. Evie seems that she would like to come in. Another land would be great. I'm going to go grab her. And she is off to check on Mom, because she thinks that Mom is a flight risk and is not to be left alone. She is very cute like that. Her mom and I were joking around the time we were looking at adopting a dog. Oh, wouldn't it be funny if we, you know, like, what a troll move if we, like, adopted a dog and named her Eevee or something like the Pokemon, and then we adopted a 5.5-year-old dog who was named Eevee. But she was named that because she was born on Christmas Eve. So it was Eevee-I-E. Okay, so I don't like Bone Crushering anything here. I think that I like shocking this in for a goose. Getting out of food, so now we have some extra ramp. And they're doing a Once Upon a Time. Well, we can stomp something if they put down like an Edgewall Innkeeper, or we can Once Upon a Time and just fish for a land to play Sarkhan or something like that. And any land will do at this point, because the Gilded Goose can give us the second red we need. Okay, and they are apparently not Murderous Ridering or Swift Ending our Goose, so that's nice for us. This guy can get in for a turn or two, I'm okay with that. I would much rather try to find that land here. Or do we like Questing Beast more than Sarkhan? I honestly think that Questing Beast might be better here. Because Well, no, I guess this is alright. And we can block their Order of Midnight with our Arboreal Grazer. Yeah, I think we take this land and get the Sarkhan down, guaranteed. Especially because, unless they can Murderous Rider our dragon, they can attack with their 1/1s, and then our Arboreal Grazer can block their Order of Midnight. Thank you, Goose. Now that we have taken ourselves to 14 just by shocking in lands here. So in a matchup where our opponent has some, evasive guys and a pretty good attack you down plan, that is definitely a little bit sketchy. So my line of thinking here is that if they can attack down our Sarkhan if they can kill our dragon. Oh, they just oh, I can't imagine that's what they meant to do. Is it? Is that what they meant to do? I don't think that would be what they meant to do. Yeah, that seemed like a shame scoop. Alright, well, we got there. And you got to see how the deck does its thing. What is this? Is this one of the Brawl cards? I don't remember seeing this. Oh, no, I've seen that in packs, I think. I'm probably totally wrong, but I think I've seen it in packs. Alright, so I've found that the Adventures deck with that really grindy mid-range plan that can close pretty quickly, that and other blue-green mid-range decks, especially Nissa decks, which is most of them, granted, are the decks that I tend to have the hardest time with as this deck. Especially those, like Oko into Nissa decks. One, they're fighting fire with the ramp into Oko. And then two, it's just hard for us to deal with an endless army of lands. As funny as that sounds, I like this quite a bit, because we can... I mean, double Once Upon a Time is not good for us, but I'm still okay with this. Opponent goes turn 1 Fabled Passage again, so that is nice for us. Into Swamp. Ooh, and then we find Oko off the top. Well, that's fantastic. Okay, let's find a land, which should be pretty easy, because we have a lot of them. Okay, so we only need a single blue source. We want double green, double red, so we want Stomping Grounds here. I don't know why I always think it's called Stomping Grounds. It's Stomping Ground, singular, but... Alright, so let's go here, and then here, and this is the best opening we can have, pretty much, is jamming a turn 2 Oko. Obviously, we'd rather do it on the play than on the draw, because you'd rather do everything on... Oh, no. Well, we're going to have a turn 2 Planeswalker regardless of what they take. It's probably going to be Oko. It should be Oko, in my opinion. Because Oko's going to make Grazer a 3/3 and start beating in. Alright, I'm going to play the Steam Vents, because that's the one they know about. And I think I like increasing our card quality here. I think that I put back a land, because Once Upon a Time is either going to find us a land or a creature we can play. So... Actually, I should have put back this land. Well, that's a really good card against the Royal Scions, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so we found the land. We do not want to plus the Royal Scions here. That would be terrible, so let's attack. Actually, I guess I'm going to... I think I'm going to lead on this. No, I think I hold that, because there's nothing that I can really cast that will be relevant here. We could find a Goose. That could be relevant. Okay, so we're going to Once Upon a Time. Spending this and this. Yep, and what we find is a Goose. So that's kind of how we wanted to do that, I guess. Alright, so we will buff Grazer, attack Narset, play Stomping Ground, play Goose. And this is one of the things you'll see from Royal Scions here, is that even though we were on the draw here, we are pretty close to ultimating Royal Scions. Okay, there goes Sarkhan. Ooh, they got rid of a Chandra, which makes me think that they do not have a they do not have 6 lands. So looks like they're on Grixis here. They could easily have Bolus this coming turn. Alright, that was first strike damage. I'm going to play this because having a bunch of foods is not irrelevant. And if they board wipe us or something, if we can cast everything in our deck off of what we have, we don't need the ramp. Although having the extra foods around can be good because we have ways that we can leverage them. Enter the God Eternals. Holy man. Well, they got rid of 3 cards that we definitely did not want, and a Questing Beast, so... Okay, yep, now they got Bolus, so we are probably dead here. Yep, last card in hand, Bolus Ugin. Wow, Bolus Ugin God Eternals actually was a heck of a curve for them. Yeah, I don't see us clawing our way back into this one, and it will be very bad television. So let's just give him the good game. And scoop it up. Note that Oko to shrink their zombie is very bad because it actually makes their zombie much bigger. It makes it a 7/7 because it's instead of a 0/0 with 4 counters, it's 3/3 with 4 counters. So I have a couple Ceratops in here, partially because it's a good threat against things like Flash, but also in part because there's a lot of decks where we bring out a bunch of our like damage-dealing creatures, and having something really relevant to bring in those matches is really great. Probably pull the Domries here. Bring in the Veils. Yeah, this Wicked Wolf is still alright because, you know, it can be indestructible and all that, but I just think that shifting Ceratops is more where we want to be in these games. And then often when I cut down on the number of threats that I'm running, I cut down on a couple of Once Upon a Times too. Because yeah, we're down to 8, you know, attacking creatures here. So your average Once Upon a Time is going to be weaker. Maybe I cut out another one, bring in a Wicked Wolf or something, just so we have a slightly higher threat density, and Wicked Wolf can survive their removal, stuff like that. You probably have Aether Gust, which is where you'd want to be against Wolf. Well, this is like the worst threat in our deck, and then a bunch of ramp and lands, so I'm pretty sure we go back. We have no green in this hand, which makes it virtually unplayable. That's the best hand we've seen. So we'll put back a Grazer. I think we have to put back a Disdainful Stroke, honestly. We just need to make sure we slam this Oko as soon as possible. Alright, next turn we're going to be pretty much in top deck mode, so let's hope we can get there. Spoiler alert, I'm not... what a draw. I'm not terribly optimistic that that happens, but we'll give it a try.
Oh dear.
I think I've probably gotten about 75-25 in my favor against the Fires decks, but I think they've all been Jeskai, and Jeskai's interaction is less favorable than Grixis's. Well, there goes Grazer. Nice knowing you, man. We're going to end this game going, man, if only we had one additional Arboreal Grazer.
One bite, and all your cares.
Well, let's hope we can find a land and get this Questing Beast out and just start ripping them in the face. Except they don't have another Thought Erasure here. If they do, they may wait another turn or two to cast it. Oh no, that's our only creature. High rate of attrition for Arboreal Grazers this game, man, I tell you. Alright, well, there's the thing we were looking for. So let's make you a 3/3. And get in for 7, and they're dead on board. They will be at Fire's mana here, so they can do that plus another spell and start getting back on board. That's not what they're doing, though. They deal with our food token. Nope. Alright, back to that on board. I'm going to keep this in hand so that they potentially spend mana thought erasuring us, and or if we draw the Royal Scions, we have a thing we can loot away. Shock themselves to 1. Enter the God Eternals. Too bad we can't sack it in response. Oh, I guess that they would still gain the life, though, and stuff like that. Well, that's not what we were hoping for. That guy is one too big for us to be able to swap it. So I think that we came up 1 point short, but that was on a mull to... What did we mulligan to? 5, I think? So we had land, grazer... yep. Land, grazer, Oko. And we do have evasive haste threats, so we're definitely not out of this yet. Like, they could just die. Oh, another God Eternals pretty much seals that one, though. Well, there's Hellkite, but, yep, that's going to be probably a little too late. We're going to haste this. Well, actually, ugh. It's like we really should haste this because we want to get that damage in, but it's going to take so long to win without activating. So let him for 4, and then 4, and then they're at 1. Yeah, I think we honestly have to do this. Even though that's... You almost never want to do that. I feel like you almost always want to get the chip damage in when you can. Oh, wow, we are flooding out really bad here for... When you mull to 5 like this, you can't afford to draw all these lands. I mean, again, if they can't deal with Hellkite, they die. Oh, that's going to deal with Hellkite. So we almost got there. At 1 point of damage. So the 88% win rate, slightly diminished now. I guess I went... So I ended up going 5-1 with this deck. So that would be 80. So I was a little below 88% to begin with when I started today. Because I was 88 and then went 5-1, so yeah. You'll take the play, thanks. Are we feeling lucky? I'm feeling pretty lucky. Who runs Shock these days, huh? Who with Chandra sleeves runs Shock? Okay. Had it in the bag all along. I don't think we sideboard here. I mean, maybe we look at their sleeves and say, okay, it's probably something with red and Chandra. But I think that that's probably not the best kind of metagame knowledge to apply. Well, I really like this. Yep, basic forest. So it would have come to the wrong conclusion. Ooh. Dueling Gooses. Let's see if they can stomp ours before we stomp theirs. I actually played 2 games back-to-back with an Aristocrats deck today, where both of us played the exact same turn 1, 2, 3, 4, but the opponent won the coin flip. So, I will let you guess who won those games. Looks like we're probably getting Oko'd or Scion'd here, honestly. Yup. Well, they're in a huge lead. Do we kill their goose? Like nothing in our hand really does anything against their board is the problem here. So we could stomp their Goose. We could Raw Dog Bone Crusher Giant. I guess we hit their Oko. Well, we can't hit their Oko because we have to tap this to play Scions. Then our Scions take a bunch of damage. Yeah, boy. And this is why this deck is so good, because you're seeing how good turn 2 Oko is on the other side, too. I think this might honestly be the best play. Just play the Bone Crusher Giant. I like how it was giving me a your go there during the, like, drawing a card, like, you're not drawing your card fast enough. You might be stuck on lands here, which might give us a little bit of a way into this game. In which case we should have killed their Gilded Goose, but we have no way of knowing they're stuck there. And I feel like some kind of pressure on Oko... No, okay, I got it. I feel like some kind of pressure on Oko is important, and since Bone Crusher Giant's a 4/3, they can't swap Giant for food. And we can force damage through with the Royal Scions. Ooh, nice. I've debated playing Moo in lists like this, especially because Moo can... Yep, they got this. See, this is the line, is you shrink a guy, and then Oko swaps the guy. I mean, I guess we can kill their Oko here by swinging a Goose into it. I don't know why they're saying oops, that seemed like it was the play. Blast. Alright. We're probably gonna have to scoop, because, yeah, how do we beat that? I mean, if we were on the play, obviously, we'd be in a really good position, because we would have had the pressure on their Oko. They wouldn't have had any swap targets there. Although Moo would be pretty good for them. This person has given us a lot of nices here. I dig it. Alright, so importantly, if our Goose survives, we can place Sarkhan, and then Scions can buff themselves to get through a Mu Yanling Elemental.
I think a little merriment is in order. Beauty in the ordinary. Cover my back, Rowan!
Okay, there's our Oko. Question is this just way too late to affect anything? The answer is probably yes. So, let's see. I mean, we'll fight the good fight. Oops. Actually, do we even want them to know that we have Sarkhan in our deck? Because this isn't... I mean, so we can swing these guys into Oko, and then lose both of our Planeswalkers. Yeah, I think we just scoop and not show them the Sarkhan. I mean, it looks like they don't have red. So they're probably on just Simic. So yeah, in that case, I really like the moves there. Okay, so, yeah, we only saw blue and green, plus Interplanar Beacon, so that could be whatever, sort of. So I like Ceratops. I like our removal-y creatures. I don't know if I'm in love with Bone Crusher Giant here, and until we see more top end, I don't think I want to bring Disdainful Stroke in. Veil of Summer seems too cute. We can, like, dodge an Oko swap, but yeah, that seems like the definition of too cute to me. Domri seems okay, but just okay, as does Bone Crusher Giant. Like, on the play Bone Crusher, we can... If we have a slower start, we can snipe a snipe a goose and then have a threat. But is that good over the other things we could be doing? I mean, it's a hedge. But yeah, I think we just cut the Bone Crushers. Bring in the Ceratopses. One of the two games that I lost during the metagame win every card challenge with this deck was versus another blue-green deck that was on the play and played their Oko on turn 2 while we did not have an Oko, so history repeating itself here. That's the thing that we are weakest against, seems to be our own best play. Well, we don't have a turn 2 Planeswalker. Oh, we don't have blue either. Okay, well we have to mulligan that. Well, man. I think it's just so wrong to go to 5 here. I mean, we did almost win on a mull to 5 in the previous match, but yeah, this is a very gross. Yep, we are largely... Oh, they are on red. Okay, so yeah, we are pretty much in the mirror here. Just that they have Moo and we have very, very bad opening hands. Okay, so let's go with blue, green. So we got blue, whatever, and red. Make red. There is a line where maybe we want to save this to play Wicked Wolf, but I would rather start getting rid of these way too many lands. I guess we don't have way too many lands. We have 4 at this point, but we need to draw into stuff. And I think I actually get rid of the Sarkhan here. Because we're either... I like the Wicked Wolf. But Sarkhan is... I mean, one, we only have a single red right now. And Sarkhan is still several turns off, even if we... You know, we can't play the land. Oh man, that guy is really not powerful right now. Oh, wish we could play that this turn. Alright, so I believe that I loot again. We have a pretty good hand now, so we'll see. Yep, we'll just get rid of this extra land. Basic Island's probably the worst land we can have. Playing this tapped, we still have activate Gilded Goose mana. So they can make an elemental, but our questing beast makes the elemental pretty sad, assuming that we still have scions in play, which we may or may not. And of course these guys can't block questing beast. If they're spending their mana putting down an Arboreal Grazer here, that's pretty good for us. Yeah, none of these things except for the elemental can block questing beast. And questing beast will just eat that. Oh shoot, I forgot to make a... Well, I can still play this, but I forgot to make a food there. I should have just done that when they were played out. Yeah, that's a huge punt on my part. And that's why I don't play competitive events when I am streaming. Ooh, block with your elemental. You know you want to trade your elemental for our questing beast, right? I'm sure you've never seen this line in your Teamer Oko deck. Okay, they saw the line. I feel like I'm throwing Goose in front of this elemental if they don't feel anything else here. Ooh, well 5 means probably Sarkhan or Ceratops and Haste. Oh, they actually have 6 here because they have a Paradise Druid out. That could be 2 Planeswalkers in their hand. Which would be very good for them. You could turn Questing Beast into a 3/3 without any keywords. Although, I mean, so our Scions here, you're seeing again, Scions are about to ult. If they go... Okay, so they have no hasty dudes here. And yeah, I'm all about throwing this goose in front of this elemental. Because the goose isn't going to do a whole lot here, especially now that we have a second one. Opponent says, oops. Says, good game. Chandra.
The immolation sensation.
So I can kill our questing beast. Or take our scions down to 2. Alright, we kill our questing beast. So we can just hit them for 7 here, which is I think what I want to do. And then we can play Forest Wicked Wolf, eat a guy. And see, not having that food here is going to be terrible for us. Okay, we found a Skargan Hellkite, so hopefully that can close out the game against them. Oh, of course we can close the game out against them, because we haven't gone to combat yet. Oops. Right, they have graders in play. That's pretty good for them. They cannot kill our Hellkite, though. Again, like I said, this is why I do not play competitive when I'm streaming. Because I miss all of the things when I'm trying to hold a conversation. Alright, so we get a thing. Whatever that's called. Don't know that I like this unless they have more blockers they can play with reach or flying. Because we can just Wicked Wolf, kill their Grazer. Really wish that we had a food. Ooh, they have Disdainful Stroke. Okay, so yeah, this is looking like a very familiar list. Make them sack their last Grazer. I'm going to hold Once Upon a Time here. So they can sack their Chandra to kill our Hellkite. This takes us to 7, Emblem takes us to 6. I just hope to rip something that can close out the game with the Once Upon a Time, which I guess... yeah, we have 4 hits on that, or 3 hits, because we have 1 more Skargan Hellkite and 2 Shifting Ceratops. It looks like they're playing around us having more haste, which I think is probably... Yeah, they still can't win off of that. This is 9 damage total. Oh wait, no, because they can attack with their Paradise Druid. So yeah, actually would have been okay here if we hadn't missed that food. No, going with everything. You just kill us. Yeah, there you go. Let's see what we find. Questing Beast, so, and Ceratops. So yeah, we definitely had them on the crackback there if we hadn't missed that 1 food. So, totally my bad there. Big punt. It's almost always right. If you're not going to completely miss a very obvious line like that, it is very good to make your food after combat, because even if they don't have anything in play, if they play a hasty creature or something and you'd want to block with it, you can still tap it and make the food after declaring the blocker. So, well, it was a severe punt, but we got the free game one because they mulled to 5. And of course, sometimes we mull to 5 too and then lose the game, so you can't just say, well, it doesn't count, because that's still a game of Magic. They could have played it out if they'd wanted to, and I'm actually kind of surprised that they just took one mulligan and then scooped, because this deck can do really well on the mulligan. You have Once Upon a Time to find you the missing piece, whether it be a creature or a land or some interaction like with Wicked Wolf. And you have just some really incredibly powerful lines. Alright, lose the coin flip. Of course, we won the coin flip and then our opponent scooped before the game started, so a little bit of a wasting a little bit of our cumulative variance there. Definitely been noticing more and more as the patches build up, more and more opponents doing this, where like nothing even loads for a particular opponent until a ways in. So I imagine this is client communication related stuff with either their memory is leaking so badly that their client isn't bringing anything up, or just communication issues with ooh. I think I'm actually going to be super loose and say we keep this, because we got... The Questing Beast is fantastic, and we have 2 dorks, even though we can't play either on turn 1. We don't need one on turn 1, we just need one on turn 2 for Questing Beast. Give him the hello. Lead on Basic Island. You don't see that as much these days without the Mono Blue Tempo deck in the format. Oh, okay, well... Now we wish we'd had a turn 1 source of green, huh? Oh well. So it goes. Opponent considers responding to our temple. As good as Questing Beast is, I don't think we want another one, especially when we're missing an entire color and, can't play Questing Beast without keeping a Monodork in play. Okay, Spectral Sailor. So we know what we're up against. We lost the coin flip. We didn't have a turn of Monodork. We're probably going to lose, because this is one of those decks. And actually, this is the other one that I haven't played much against this deck, and I've done decently against it, but that's a very small sample size, and I've heard a lot of people playing this deck say that this is a tough one. So that's another good reason to put in the Ceratops in the sideboard, is it's just a really strong card against this deck. Ah, there's the forest. One turn too late, unfortunately. I think I actually like just dropping out both of our Monodorks here. I think I'm going to lead on the Grazer. Let's do Grazer first. We'll see what happens. Then put the Temple in off of that, because that's going to come into play tapped no matter what, so might as well double up on the CIP tapped. Are they actually considering doing something here? I mean, they could think that we're field. Wow. Essence Capture on the Monodork, the turn 2 Monodork. That is an incredibly aggressive line. But joke's on you, that was the Monodork we played because we had another Monodork that we wanted more. Because this guy can actually make red. And they don't really have a way of removing it. That said, I mean, if they want to counter a thing, that's absolutely fine for them. Getting this guy up to 2/2 is not irrelevant. I don't think we're blocking this. So I'm pretty sure... I actually like jamming Questing Beast here, because we have another one, and so if this one gets countered, it's less of an issue, and then we have Oko mana anyways. There's our last Temple of Mystery. We're really hitting those hard here. So they could have another Essence Capture or a Quench. Essence Capture would be their best card here, because it keeps buffing their Sailor. Ooh, nothing. They're still holding priority, so they could have a, what's the fairy called? Brazen Borrower. Thank you for reminding me, opponent. Yeah, everyone was really down on Brazen Borrower, but it's a good card. It's definitely a good card. Alright, well, let's do this. See what we hit. I think I like Wolf. It's pretty good against their threats. Like, it lines up well. And if we stick an Oko, which we probably won't, but we'll find out. That's just because they have Frilled Mystic mana now. If we stick that, then we have we have a nice source of food.
Shear the wool from your eyes and spin you clarity.
Okay. To feed to the Wicked Wolf. And then it can hopefully kill a guy.
Welcome to the feast.
And actually the number of... we drew 3 of our 4 come into play tapped lands here, which is going to be really relevant in this highly tempo-based matchup. Going to 1 versus 3 here I don't think is worth sacking our Gilded Goose over, especially when that's their only way of making red still. So I could be super greedy and try to steal their Brineborn Cutthroat, but if they can pump it, the ability fizzles. That said, I think I'm okay with that, because then I can probably fight their guy down with Wicked Wolf. Oh, I know they have a flash threat. Okay, so that's definitely not a good play. So let's lead on playing this, see what they do. I think this is what we're supposed to do. We honestly don't have any really great lines here unless our opponent's just sort of bricking. Yeah. Yep, you got it. Wait. That's a 3-2. Oh wait, we can't swap. He's at... Yeah, he got hit last turn. We can't swap anything. I know how this game works, I swear.
Your new look is enchanting.
Been looking at unsummoning our food? Yep. Yeah, I legit don't see how we win this game. Because they've got 8, 10 power on board. Yeah. We'll skip that one. Very, very bad situation for us with a really slow hand versus Flash on the draw, which this is, from what I've heard, one of our worst matchups. And the reason for that just being that our individual card quality isn't super high because we have Arboreal Grazers and Gilded Goose, which are not high-quality cards. I think I might even like bringing in a couple of Strokes here because their top-end stuff is so good. I actually like the Bone Crusher Giants here because having an instant speed piece of interaction is quite good for us. I think that I like the Wicked Wolves a little less because it's very clunky. Does Domri really do anything for us here? Domri relies on us resolving Domri and another creature, which is very hard, but if we can resolve him, that +1 is really good. So maybe we go down like 1 and 1. Maybe do just 2 Disdainful Stroke. Just try to win before having that huge set. Maybe we, let's see, trim a Wolf, because we've gone up some good creatures. I don't think we cut our Sarkons or Hellkites here. Kind of what we want to do is get to the point where we can resolve those. That's sort of our game plan. I think I trim a Once Upon a Time because the tempo hit is much more relevant here, and our because we trim Grazer, our odds of being able to land an early Planeswalker are a lot lower. We'll play first, thank you. Man, these hands have been really sketchy. Okay, that's a lot better. I mean, it does nothing until turn 4, but I'm not going to 5 again. I think we can trust that with 24 lands and 2 Once Upon a Times, we'll be able to find a land. I'm going to lead on this one, because then we can have all of our colors next turn untapped. And we don't need Tournament Veil of Summer against this deck. I play it like this as if holding up turn 2 Disdainful Stroke is really important against the Flash deck. Spoiler alert, it's not. They can't play anything for 4 or more mana on turn 2. Well, this is turning out terribly. Although opponent isn't feeling anything either, so I assume they're holding a bunch of counter spells, and hopefully we can just jam a Questing Beast under a Veil of Summer. And to a Skargan Hellcat, that seems pretty good. Alright, so now Disdainful Stroke is online. Well, at the end of this turn. There's Cutthroat. Opponent does not attack. Huh. I wonder what they're expecting out of us. I'm going to play this just to represent less... Well, nah. That seems way too cute. Make sure we're holding up green, because green is the name of the game right now. If they have 2 things they can do at instant speed, they can still kill our guy with Brandborn Cutthroat, but... That is an intense tilt. Wow. Yup. Well, I mean, we can try to get another land and then Disdainful Stroke a thing, but that's only good against one specific card in their deck, so I'm pretty sure we just do this and then they counter it and then we lose. Yup, good game. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying before I got distracted by sideboarding, the reason this is a tough matchup is not only because our individual card quality is, like, or our average card quality is not great because of all the mana dorks, but on top of that, we have a really hard time generating double spell turns, and, well, and also we have a hard time drawing good 7-card hands, apparently, which has not been my experience with this deck, but appears to be the case today. I think I'll have to do one more with this one and then go on to another deck, just because this has been some uncannily bad not games from like a gameplay perspective, but from a like just how are we doing perspective. Yeah. Got the Terminal Burial Grazer here. So yeah, get that flushed out of the system. Gonna do this instead of Goose because we need to hit an untapped land to be able to play Scions, and being able to get a Temple of Mystery here gives us a higher chance of that, so there we go. Alright, opponent goes Azorius Guildgate, so probably Golos. Sure looks that way so far. I think we'll do yield, draw, discard, probably get rid of this goose.
What is my strategy here?
Yeah, I think I like getting rid of the goose. Hopefully we can either draw or loot into an untapped land here and get Questing Beast out. Nope. Try it again. Come on. That's like the opposite. That is much slower than we were hoping for. Oh well. Little late there, guy. Little late. Alright, so I think at this point we play out the Bone Crusher Giant, just to have some pressure on the board. The opponent went Azorius Guildgate there, didn't they? So they're going to be behind on their Field of the Dead activations by a turn. Teferi? Oh, Guild Summit. Huh. I haven't seen Guild Summit in a while, actually. Alright, well, let's put out a Questing Beast. Hit them for 7. Because I like our hand here, I'd rather just hit them for more damage. I guess Once Upon a Time isn't great, but I'm assuming they're going to have a board wipe for us, so I would like to have a redundant Questing Beast, and getting in the extra 2 damage is not irrelevant, especially when we have a shock in our hand effectively for their face, and Royal Scions can ult this turn unless they can take them off the board or damage them somehow. If they have the giant board wipe... Ooh, they're going to take 2 to bounce our... Oh, that doesn't trigger off of abilities, just spells. Okay. Never mind. That does give us 1 more damage off of our Royal Scions, though. Alright, so we draw another Scion, so we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're just dead.
We practiced a new combat.
Bonk.
Not like it.
And that's what I was saying about the Royal Scions. That ult happens all the time, and it ends games really fast. Like, that was almost half their life total from that ultimate. Okay, so Disdainful Stroke, that's a big part of the reason that's in this deck to begin with, and then we can pull out the Bone Crushers and a couple of Wicked Wolves. Don't really like that, don't like that. Bring a couple Flame Sweeps, in case... I don't like relying too much on, like, bringing in Flame Sweep against this deck, because I would rather, like... I think it's alright to bring out the Wolves and maybe like a Once Upon a Time. Do it like this. But the thing is that you just don't really want to... by the time they're making zombies, you're usually... like, your goose is kind of cooked at that point, unless you're getting in with evasion. Which you can do, but, you know, it's sort of like, would you rather... Would you rather beat them faster or be able to survive an extra turn once they're going off? I don't think this is good enough on the draw, honestly. Well, we'll keep this. We'll ditch an Oko. This one has Questing Beast instead of Wolf, though, so... all things being equal, this is a slightly better hand, I think, even with 1 less land. Or even with 1 less card. So they can't 4-drop here, because they don't have Growth Spiral mana up. So I don't shuck in for Disdainful Stroke. The question is, do I jam Oko, or do I try to get a stroke in? Oh, well. I think I get the Oko out right now. But actually, so I can hold that up and then so I can also Arboreal Grazer, put down an extra land, and then Questing Beast next turn while having up Disdainful Stroke right now. But I think I'm just going to play the Oko. We'll see if they have the Aether Gust or Mystical Dispute. Maybe not. Okay.
Open your heart to the magic that dances. It's not poison. Trust me.
Oh, Teferi. Okay. So they can bounce this. Oh, they bounce our food. Okay. Alright, so at this point, I'm pretty sure we just make another food, play Questing Beast, Smork.
One bite, and all your cares are gone.
So that actually is good, though. The fact that we don't have additional lands means that we can't really hold up Questing Beast plus Disdainful Stroke in the near future, so thank you for the incidental damage onto Teferi. Appreciate your service. Well, they cannot Golos here. They can Circuitous Route, which I imagine they have. Like, it's very good. They could also Gates Ablaze, which if they're more on... Yeah, they're clearly... This is clearly a Gates deck with Field, more than a Field deck that happens to have Gates. 2/2 Krasis does not stack up very well against us at all. I mean, I could even Flame Sweep that away, but I don't think we do that. Because, I mean, they can't block our Questing Beast. And we could actually take their Krasis and give them a food. Do I like that line? Do I like just getting 2 more power in the air rather than getting 3 on the ground here that they can chump block once? We can also... The thing is, we can also swap Golos. So if they get a Golos down and then we can swap it before they can activate, I think that's a much nicer line. So yeah, let's do this.
Gaze into my face and put on your true shape.
Gaze into my face and put on your true shape. I really love his voice lines. Like, he's just such a horrible person, but his voice lines are so lovable. Put this guy down so that Oko has an additional target to turn into a creature next turn. If they go to board wipe us, most of the board wipes we can Disdainful Stroke. And they go to 3. We cannot Disdainful Stroke that one, however. Shoot. That's a good one. Can even hold up Disdainful Stroke. I think that Wicked Wolf just doesn't do enough here. So I'm going to keep a couple of reset buttons.
It's not poison. Trust me.
So they can, like, cast a big spell. If they do that, we can Disdainful Stroke it. They can spend their turn, like, ramping up more lands, in which case we can Flame Sweep afterwards. Okay, let's say no to that guy. Hard pass. I really hope they attack the Oko, but I don't see that happening. Oh my god. Okay. Get those Scions closer to ulting. Alright, so let's do this.
Let's broaden your existence.
kind of like doing this so that these are both basically just unblockable. Do it. Oh, yeah. Block that guy. Oh, it felt so good. I was hoping they would double block and try to trade. Which, spoiler alert, doesn't work very well when your guys first strike and trample. Alright. That bodes pretty well for us here. Ooh, Plaza's good though. That'll get him up to 9. That's why it's nice to have a couple flame sweeps, even though I don't like going overboard on them. They don't even attack, huh? So I think the play is to play a Gilded Goose, make a food. So that was a very, very good Gilded Goose draw. Usually drawing a Monodork at this point sucks. In this case, it's very, very good. Because we'll do that. Then we'll do this, and they can't block it. It doesn't really matter who we put it on, because we're going to wipe the board here. Then get in for 9. They actually weren't dead there, because they had a food they could sacrifice. It would have gone to 3. So, I mean, they were not in a good spot, granted. But, yeah, they did have an out there, although a lot of times people miss that they can sack the food you give them. Anyway, so let's take a look at the deck here. Obviously, that was well underneath our... I'll have to restart the client here, too. Well underneath the performance that we would hope for that deck, given how well it's been performing for us. I probably took our win rate well below where it was before, but, you know, that's fine. And that's the reason that I don't play competitive when I'm streaming. So, what do we think about this? So, a lot of people aren't really high on Wicked Wolf. I feel like Wicked Wolf is fantastic. We didn't get to see it here, but whenever you go up against an aggressive match, this card just wrecks them, because we have such a powerful food engine. And even just coming in on turn 4 or turn 3 a lot of the time and killing a thing and then leaving a body behind is great. And then having this food engine where we have 8 cards that can feed it and then outgrow our opponent's side and stuff like that. Just very, very strong. I've seen some people run Nissa in this list, and it was a very intentional decision on my part not to. And here's why. Nissa is great, and she does work well in this deck. But, and this is a big but, she really slows us down compared to the other things we could be running for 5. So for 1, we don't have any ramp payoff for her. If we were doing that, we'd also be running Crassus, and then we're in a completely different deck at that point. 2, Sarkhan and Skargan Hellkite give us a lot of closing power. And I think we saw that in game 1, I believe, or match 1 or 2 that we played today, where you drop Sarkhan and then it's, you know, face and opponent dies. Whereas Nissa, you do that same thing and it's like, all right, got a 3/3. Your turn, opponent. Maybe I get you for 3 with it. So in a game where you're ramping and or trying to draw the game out more, that's great. But we saw that when this deck wasn't working, it wasn't working because it wasn't aggressive enough to close things out in time. And when it did work, it was because it was being very aggressive. So things like this, where we can get that damage in immediately, are much more powerful for the deck, in my opinion, than a thing like Nissa. And it comes down to the meta in a lot of ways, too, right? Like, if you're going up against field and aggro, these cards are way better, I feel like, than having Nissa. But if you wanted to do better against, like, green-black adventures, like, if that becomes a big thing, or even, I guess, less white-green adventures, because they're more tempo and less value-oriented, or, you know, the mirror, like, Nissa is fantastic against this deck. And so if it's like blue-green X decks that you're worried about, Nissa could be great. But that's not what I'm worried about here. We didn't get to see Shifting Ceratops work, but we could have seen where it would have been good had we drawn it in the Flash matchup. Flame Sweep, of course, worked really well. You know, Lava Coil just for spot removal. Disdainful Stroke, of course, was great. Veil of Summer, of course, is great when your opponent doesn't have double counterspell the first turn that you can actually play anything. And actually one that I have been thinking might be good for this is Mystical Dispute, which does not have an end bracket in the name, contrary to popular belief. So I think this is actually a pretty sideboardable card right now, because the thing is that it's not counter target blue spell unless its owner or unless its controller pays 3. It's counter a spell of any sort. So you pretty much always have things that you can nab with it. Of course, it's going to be really hard to nab non-blue spells with it, but if you are in those, like, you know, if you need to nab your opponent's Oko, or if they're, you know, running a, you know, the Grixis Fires deck or something, which we saw was really effective against us, although Jeskai much less so because Clarion is a lot worse than Grixis's cards against us. But there's a fair amount of blue running around right now, and it's largely because Oko is so good. And, you know, hit a Krasis, well, worse against Krasis because they get the effect still. But it might be something that's worth considering in decks like this when you want to hedge against this deck and other blue decks of its ilk, and also against Flash, because it's basically a 1-mana hard counter against all of the Flash things in the Flash deck. Everything except for the Wolf, pretty much, I think it hits. So, anyway, enough with that. I think I'm actually going to end, but, well, actually, first we're going to restart the client. And I think I'm actually going to forge a new deck, because my like main squeeze right now, in terms of just individual cards, isn't Questing Beast, it's not Oko, it's not even Royal Scions. It's Stormfist Crusader. I have been so high on Stormfist Crusader. It feels so good in aggressive decks where you just want to power out as many cards as you can and overwhelm your opponent. And I went, you know, okay, so we have a couple of Grixis decks, this one, and this one, and this one. I'll run it. This one runs it. But I actually thought, let's build a non-Grixis deck there, and I actually went into Jund, because one thing with having mana dorks is that you can drop your hand really quickly. So I thought, all right, so what if we replace that blue with some Once Upon a Time Questing Beast, because it's just so good, and then some mana dorks, and we'll see how that works with Stormfist Crusader, letting us hopefully just drop our hand. Maybe maybe some of these Once Upon a Time should actually be Paradise Druid, because they do actually put a non-zero amount of pressure on the table while also helping us just vomit hand onto the table. And especially with a couple of adventure cards, which having an adventure card, even though you can play it on its curve, does add more mana that you can spend to your deck. So, you know, normally if you cast your 2-drop and then you have like a 3-drop in your hand, and that's what you've got, you don't necessarily need to, you know, hit the 5 mana spot to be able to double spell, because you've already cast all your spells. But if you Order of Midnight into Murderous Rider, then maybe in a couple turns you want to recast both of these on their other half. So anyway, just a reason that it's nice to have a little extra mana there. This is what we got for the sideboard, although I think we'll just do best of one, because I like just putting in more reps when a deck is really, really rough. And then we also have Rankle to sacrifice our Gilded Goose late in the game, so that's really cool too. So anyway, the only thing I don't have in here is I think we're down 2 Overgrown Tombs. So with our 10 packs that we got from the event, we got a couple of extra rare wild cards. Let's put 2 of those towards finishing our green-black mana base and see how it goes. We are a little greedy here with double black, double green, double black, red, green, and 8 1-drops. But the point of playing decks is in large part to see how they play and iterate on them. So let's see how it plays and iterate. I've also really been loving the Aristocrats deck right now, because even just throwing Rankle into the old Aristocrats list was so great, because you have so many great ways of breaking the symmetry of that card. I like this. We have turn 2 Stormfist Crusader, and that's why we put this deck together. And we can shock a thing if we need to, and we're on the play. Alright, so let's lead on this guy. Make him think that we're on our previous deck. No, no, Pellet Collector. They had a 1-drop. Oh, and we drew a Gilded Goose off the top. That feels terrible. Alright, well, let's, They can't really get Pellet Collector above Bone Crusher Giant range here, so I like doing this and trying to hit an extra... Okay. Opponent does not share our opinion on Stormfist Crusader, apparently, or does share our opinion and never wants to play against it ever. Which is funny, because a deck that goes turn 1... No, maybe this deck should have Pelt Collector, huh? I wasn't even thinking about that one. I think I only have like 1 or 2 copies, so I'd have to make more. Maybe we run that over the Once Upon a Time and just go in extra 1-drops to be able to, you know, hand vomit with greater efficiency. Because that is an anti-synergy in this deck, is that we're trying to drop our hand really quickly, but having Once Upon a Time as a 2-mana spell that puts another spell into your hand is kind of antithetical to that plan. And of course we want to drop our hand quickly because then our Rankle turns into a one-sided discard effect. Okay, love it. Oops. Can't forget the hello. We got 3 lands. We can play everything on its curve right now. But we can't go 1-drop, 2-drop with what we have. I think I'm taking the Stormfist because it's just so good in their deck. And we'll lead on Knight. Yeah, that's a very good card. Then turn 2 we can Fabled Passage for red, and then we can have Temple of Malady. And be pretty much set. Ooh. Ooh, 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 that was amazing. I'm going to follow my own advice and play the things that weren't relevant to combat after combat. Although, since they played Tapped Watery Grave, there's virtually no consideration here. Alright, so that Once Upon a Time, not feeling so hot here. Oh, we did draw Love Knight of the Ebon Legion. Here's a nice thing with these 2 cards. I don't think we want land number 5 here. Because we can, yeah, we can get a second source of green for Questing Beast. Oh, actually, this is okay. I think I actually keep this because we have Once Upon a Time and a Stormfist Crusader in play, so we do want to have some extra lands here. So this is a nice thing with Stormfist Crusader and Knight of the Ebon Legion, is that this will pump Knight. I think we're leaving this one in our hand. Just to play around a board wipe. Let's make him board wipe now, and then hopefully Questing Beast afterwards is a big enough punish. So yeah, because we had 1 damage off of the trigger here, the 2 plus that 1 plus this 1 gets the Knights pumped. Ooh, now that is a really good card against Stormfist Crusader, and that's one of the biggest marks against the card right now, in my opinion, is that, oh boy, does giving your opponent a free draw and you nothing every turn feel terrible. But we can actually get rid of their Narset with Questing Beast, so we don't even have to take a turn off from hitting them to deal with her. So imagine this is the Fires deck, based on what we've seen so far. Drawn from Dreams usually means Fires if you see Grixis colors. And yeah, see, we're making them discard. So, so we're on card parity at the moment, technically. Alright, and I like putting down this one. Grab that forest. Get that QB down, hit him for 10, take him to 4.
Prepared for this.
Hope that they can't board wipe us, because if they do, we are in really bad shape. So they can Fires here and then play another thing, but I don't think this deck really plays Ritual of Soot, and even that doesn't hit Questing Beast, so I don't know if they have a way back into this necessarily. Yeah, Fae of Wishes is not going to get them there. Well, for the first time ever playing this deck, that is literally exactly what we wanted to happen. Oh man, that was actually... Like, we could win no more games with this deck tonight, and I would be happy with its performance just based on that one game. Yeah, Pellet Collector's a good idea, because... So Night of the Ebon Legion does not trigger it, but... I guess we don't have any... We have Blacklands Paragon as well, which is another 2-drop that can get it up to 3. And obviously there's cards in here that may not be right? Like, Blacklands Paragon may not be good enough, although it is really fun in terms of giving someone surprise death touch. Like, it's really, really good. Oh, Popo BB has subscribed. Well, thank you so much for the subscription. Glad to have you. It's nice to put that, like, on a... We keep this. Yeah, absolutely. Get black here. Or get, you're gonna get black or green, I don't know. Oh, nice. You put that on a Stormfist Crusader. And, okay, good. So here's another source of green and black, so we're good on our mana. We could also just go turn 1 Gilded Goose here, huh? Think like that. We don't play Gilded Goose to not play it on turn 1, right? Another Grixis deck, huh? Good thing we brought 2 Questing Beasts. So anyway, you put, you send in your Stormfist Crusader. Opponent, if they want to block, has to block with 2 creatures. You have 2 power, you give it Death Touch, you Death Touch 2 of their creatures down. That is a mighty fine line. Alright, so we could get down Order of Midnight here. I think that's what we're going to do. No, we're not. Who are we kidding? They just took our Questing Beast, which means, I think, that they can deal with our next Questing Beast. That should have been the Overgrown Tomb, actually. But, let's just take this Questing Beast back, huh? That seems pretty good. Make him deal with it as many times as possible. Wow, this is sure looking familiar, isn't it? Is this the same opponent? It's the same card sleeves in the same deck. Hello, Questing Beast. Meet my best friends, Questing Beast and Questing Beast. I do like the interface they have for this now. I feel like it used to be a little bit on the sketchy side. The whole generating mana thing, especially with creature abilities, I think was a little bit more awkward in the past. Opponent they had no lands and they took Liliana? Wow, that is something else. Alright, so I believe this turn we're probably just going to play out Order of Midnight and make a food. And maybe actually make the food this time rather than, you know, just not. Let's put in a stop here, maybe, just to... Alright, they find the 4th land, they get the fires down. Good on them. They're gonna fight through a lot of Questing Beasts not to die, though. That's not gonna help them get there yet. I mean, I don't think they can win from here, honestly. Because they can't deal with our board this turn. This is their 2nd spell. They can kill this Questing Beast. If they wipe our board next turn, they're already at 4 and Questing Beast finishes them off. They'd have to deal with our board and discard both Questing Beasts next turn in order not to die. And so we got black, black. Okay, we got all of our colors really well. Let's just go with an extra green because we have lots of green stuff in our hand. Sounds good. And red's a splash color, so we don't need to get another one. Make that food token, please. Thank you. Beat in for 6. Put down Temple. Why not? Why not keep Questing Beast number 4 on top of our deck? I guess they could enter the God Eternals. That's their out. Enter the God Eternals. We can Murderous... Oh, actually, yeah, that 1 life could also... Okay, okay. So, Fae of Wishes, grab, enter the God Eternals. I mean, we're going to have mana to shock in, crack this, Murderous Rider swing. So... Or wait, and play Questing Beast, I think, because we'll have 6, 7. Yeah, so we can... Oh, right, they gained 1 off of the land. Right, okay. It resolves. Yeah, I don't see a reason not to put this down. We could shock it in to be able to sacrifice a food and net 1 life, which, as we've seen from our opponent, is not irrelevant. Okay, so they can go Liliana. I mean, they don't know we're holding either of these Questing Beasts, right? So... Okay, so... Can you, in 1 spell, deal with the other Questing Beast and... This has got to be really tilt-inducing. The fact that this is the best card in our deck by a long shot against them, and we found all 4 in the top 15 cards of our deck. Yep. Good lord. Our poor opponent. And I think that's the same opponent we just beat too, so let's give it a second here. Let's wait for them to find their next game and take a look. So Goose seemed pretty good there. Like, we don't have any synergy for the rest of the food package, but Goose was decent. Goose was decent. Maybe we're not actually supposed to have all these Murderous Riders in the main deck, or like trim a Bone Crusher Giant or something. I think we only have... Oh, we have 2 Pelt Collectors. Okay, so... Does this card seem good here? We can... These triggered up to 2. This triggers it up to 3. 2, 3, 3, 4. That seems like it's good enough to me, right? Like, to be a reasonable additional 1-drop. The question is, do we want more than these 8? Because we're probably never going to play this over any of these, and so the question is, how many do we want? Or maybe it would actually be trim Once Upon a Time, or remove it, put in Pelt Collector. I kind of like that, actually. Because we saw this was really good there, but anything after the first one is not amazing. So maybe we go like 2 and 2. Should we just try 2 and 2 right now? As long as we have the 2. See how it goes. And like I said, very rough deck. I have not tried any Jund color. Actually, I haven't tried any Jund color decks in all of my time on Arena. And actually, I'll wait 1 more second here for our opponent there. I have another version of this deck. Oh, it must have popped up here because I must have forged the last things for it just there. Where is it? There we go. Absolute Greed. So here's the Oko deck plus Knight of the Ebon Legion and Stormfist Crusader, because I do really dumb things sometimes, and this is one of them. So, you know, I just thought we'd dump our hand so fast with the 8 mana dorks. What if we just threw Stormfist Crusader and then Knight of the Ebon Legion for good measure? You know, how would that look? And it would look like this. I think that I will jump back in after I change the sleeve here, because I want to go to the... We got the Goose as our poster child here, and I love this card art and the sleeve. I think that's one of the best Like, that's one of my favorite sleeves in the game right now. Not only because the art is really nice. I don't remember who did it. I want to say Howard Lyon, but I think that's wrong. But anyway, whoever did it, it's very nice. And also, the effect on it is just, like, so nicely tasteful. Like, I really like the level 100 Chandra sleeves from last season, but the flame effect is just so gaudy that I just can't get behind it. But this one, it's like such a nice little shimmer. Like, when my opponent's using it, I feel like I don't think that your opponent can see when you're mousing over their cards, and I hope they can't, because I just, like, compulsively mouse over my opponent's like hand card sleeves. That one and the Is It sleeves, which makes that... I don't like the Is It sleeve on, like, a single card basis, like when it's on top of your deck, but I love it when you have a bunch of them in your opponent's hand and you can, like, go back and forth across them. That feels great. I love that. Those are my two favorite effects in the game, I think. Opponent goes first. We cannot play... these are the two... Well, we can shot with this hand. Let's mulligan. If one of these were... Like, if this were black... If we had black-red, I'd feel good about this, because we can Knight of the Ebon Legion into Stormfist Crusader. Well, I don't feel great about this either, but we'll keep it. I think we'll get rid of one of these. Yeah. Hopefully we can find a source of red, and then Knight of the Ebon Legion can dig us out of this. If not, we have two creatures at least that we can play in the meantime, and another source of black gives us Murderous Rider, so that's all good. Ooh, that looks a lot like what our first turn's going to be, I think. Actually, no, there's nothing that we could draw that would make me not play this turn. I guess that's what I could draw. Another copy of the exact same card could make me not play this card turn 1. That's actually great, because obviously we're not playing anything right here, and that's going to go a long ways towards finding red. So, rewarded for keeping into Once Upon a Time here. Paradise Druid. This does not bode well for us not having anything relevant on turn 1 on the draw with opponent ramping. Okay. I'd love to take Questing Beast, but... Actually, would I be crazy just to take the Questing Beast here? We have double green. We're just one land away from casting it. How much red do we have in this deck? No, we have this deck to play Stormfist Crusader. We're gonna jam the Stormfist Crusader. Sorry for everyone that wanted me to take Questing Beast. I just... Like, this is the reason this deck exists. Well, that's terrible for us. Fortunately, we can... kill our Questing Beast with our Paragon, so that's pretty cool. I think I'm going to not swing. Yeah, and then we'll just put this in Scry. Ah, Questing Beast, see rewarded. This guy didn't have Vigilance, obviously. I would love to go in there. Hopefully they can't just... Ooh, that's going to be super bad for us. How about us, because Stormfist Crusader can't block it. Maybe I should have killed their... I probably should have killed a Paradise Druid, but, I mean... They're probably going to sack their Paradise Druid to kill our Stormfist Crusader anyways. Do we get rid of Forest here? I think I kind of like all of the things in my hand right now. If we're going to claw back into this game... Oh, huh. Oh, well. Welcome Questing Beast number 3 that we've seen so far. That's not the worst. Man, yeah, we need more mana. I think we should have traded with the Paradise Druid there. So we're going to do this. I imagine we're going to have to Murderous Rider their Rankle, because that damage is just going to kill us. I think I'm going to leave... Ooh. Shocks in a land. So we're taking 2 here instead of 3, but then the Rankle is dead, so that's nice. Reggie. And Reggie. Wow. I don't seem to be playing Regisaur right now, actually. So, my odds of drawing a land are slightly lower if I crack this, and I do want to draw another land. Because then we can Murderous Rider plus... plus Shock their Druid? Is that what we want to do? So we're going to chump a Regisaur with one of these guys. I wish we could get out Questing Beast, because that would be great. But, as it is, we're not really at liberty to do that. Guess we could also get back Blacklands Paragon. That's really good. So we can do this, and we can still play Murderous... Or, no, we can't do all those things. I think getting back Paragon is probably the best thing we can do here. Like, we're still in a really bad spot either way. And yeah. Let's let him discard. Discard Swamp. Discard Pelt Collector. I really think they should send in Paradise Druid here unless they have something they want to spend that mana on. So they could just remove this guy and then we are pretty much toast. Well, they didn't have it. Another Regisaur. Whew. Okay. Crack this now. Green, 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 green. Guess we want a swamp, actually. We have plenty of everything else. Or no. We only have 2 blackout. Okay, I was thinking we wanted a mountain when I said swamp there, but yeah, we want to get this out, I think. Ooh, Gilded Goose is another chump blocker, so that's cool. Alright, so I think we just have to play out the Questing Beast, play out the Goose to chump with. I imagine they're trading a Regisaur for our QB, because it has Vigilance, so they're going to have to trade on the backswing anyways. And this is actually quite nice because we're winning the value game right now, but opponent is pressuring our life total, so actually we're effectively ooh, great henge. Sweet. I like it. I wish I had Oko right now. Okay. Do this. So this effectively gains us 10 life. Eventually, once we can sack this food. Ooh, that was a very good draw. Fortunately, we can't play it and also get a pump, but we can. Oh, we don't have enough to do this, plus... Well, we can still put down Knight of the Edge Legion to chump with, if need be. Obviously, we can't chump with Order of Midnight. So we haven't seen any removal from them, but I imagine they have to have, like, Murderous Rider and stuff. So, because of that, I think I'm putting down Knight. And it does become a 2-3 here. Because Questing Beast is conveniently the exact 4 that this guy needs to pump itself. Oh yeah, you're gonna keep gaining life off that, aren't you? Oof. Alright, get a 3-2, draw a card. That card's a creature, you draw another card. Great Henge is so absurd when you get it going. Murderous Rider, our guy. Yup. Play the Murderous Rider. Let's go to 1. Why not? We can't shock ourselves to death. I mean, you do actually gain a little life off this guy, plus able to pump Knight of the Ebon Legion, so that's cool. I mean, we are extraordinarily dead. Make no mistake about that. We are extraordinarily dead. Unless they draw, like, nothing but lands. Because every one of their creatures cantrips now, and they have 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Huh. There's no Embercleave in their colors, so that's not what's happening. I feel like I should have played that first, because they could have just drawn into another Murderous Rider and then killed a guy. Second Great Henge, why not? Gains an extra 2 life. We're not really representing artifact removal here. Yeah, we cannot block here. I mean, we can technically survive by going to 3 and then... Oh no, he'll take us to 0. Exactly, because of the ping. Okay. Good game. Go out on our own terms. Yeah, Henge is sweet when it gets going. My favorite Henge deck so far is the Grumgully Henge deck. So it's in red-green. I don't think I have a list for it on here, but it's a red-green deck with Grumgully and Great Henge, and then like Vivian Reed for +1/+1 counters, and Growth Chamber Guardian's kind of the linchpin. Because obviously if you put it in and it gets a counter from something else, it gets the trigger immediately, and so you can chain those together. And if you get that with Great Henge out, each one of them is getting the next one into your hand and drawing you a card, so you can just chain them together, and it's insane. It's very, very cool deck. I love the synergies in it, and then it's got, you know, awesome stuff like, you know, and just generally good cards, right? Like, it has nice mono black hand here with these weird shock lands for some reason. It has like Domri's Ambush, which is fantastic. And, ooh, love that. Alright. Gonna lead on that one so that we have a slightly higher chance of being able to play Stormfist Crusader without shocking in this turn. Hallowed Fountain, I'm thinking Jeskai Fires. Sure looks that way. Alright, let's see the Clarion. Yep. Hello, Order of Midnight. So let's Order of Midnight. We're just going to get the Knight of the Ebon Legion so that we can replay it and have a threat back on the table. I really hope we get the alternate art somehow in this. Okay, there's the fires. There's the Narset. Because that is... I mean, this is a nice looking card too, but that alt art is just fantastic. They get another Fires. Huh. Not what I was expecting. Really wanted to land there so that I could rankle their Narset. That sounds really... like... that sounds not... not family friendly. I think I'm actually doing here is Bone Crusher Gianting their Narset down to 1. then killing her,
My mind needs a rest.
then dropping a Pelt Collector. Because we probably don't really have any targets for Bonecrusher Giant. If this is the Planeswalker version, this is just there to snipe Planeswalkers. If it's the Cavalier version, this is here to make our hand feel slow and terrible. Alright, Fae of Wishes, sounds good. Our opponents have not been hitting terribly well off of Narset today, I feel like, between second Fires of Invention versus... I mean, I guess we get Assassin's Trophy, that's true. I should definitely be thinking about that card in this deck. But then also, oh yeah, Kaya's Wrath, imagine that. Hey, they cast the Kaya's Wrath. How about a land? That's, like, literally the last thing we want. I think I'm just gonna... Do I replay Knight, or do I put out Bonecrusher? I think I'd rather have the Bonecrusher right now. If they're moving, it's the same either way. If they don't, then I can get in more damage without having to spend mana pumping. Whoa, what is going on with your sleeve there? Oh, it's just that graphic that I was just talking about how much I love. It is the Planeswalker version, apparently. Watch us top deck the Rankle now. That'll feel great. Very good call, putting out the Fae of Wishes there so they have a blocker. If we remove their dragon, which... I don't know why they would expect us to remove their dragon or anything. That seems totally unreasonable. So I think I like killing the dragon, making them chump. This Sarkhan's passive is like... It's so niche in terms of when it actually, like, swings things. I was expecting them to block and then bounce. Or just block. But when it gets you, it's the worst feeling. Oh, okay, they have a Time Wipe in hand, that makes sense. When they have it, it's just the worst feeling thing. And then they have another Sarkhan. Wow. This is... This is double plus on good. Can we Order of Midnight and put Murderous Rider back in our hand, please? I would love to do that. I mean, I guess we can Murderous Rider, get back... I mean, let me go to 10. Or, not Murderous Rider, Order of Midnight. Grab the Bone Crusher. Stomp on Sarkhan. Stop him from getting an extra 4 damage and making more... I didn't realize I'd built a Mono Adventures deck, but apparently that's what we did here. So the Fae of Wishes getting a... Nicol Bolas. Seen an awful lot of him today, I feel like.
Will remake the multiverse in my image.
I think I'm keeping a Rankle. Well, we can play a lot of things with that mono we have. Okay, I'll get rid of one of the Rankles, fine.
Conceivable. Let your weak minds crumble.
Alright, so we can, like... Ooh, we don't have enough black to Murderous Rider plus another thing. Okay, so let's try... See, we can't snipe their Bolas here, that's the issue. Let's put this guy down, and then put this guy down. Good call on their part, I feel like. I think we're getting rid of the forest here because we can't double spell. We don't have enough black to do that. So just casting our best spell is the best we can do. Or Order of Midnight plus Night, which we can do with just 3, obviously. Where are they going? I wonder if that means they can deal with our board guys. Do you think that with 7 lands, Nicol Bolas, and 3 cards in hand? Oh, huh. Okay, next. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we have no way back into this. If we make them discard, they just get rid of their useless card. Let's make everyone draw a card. That's not going to come back to bite us, I'm sure. But at the very least, it will make the game end more quickly one way or another. Are they going to try to win with a Bolas ultimate? Because they can't right now. Because this is their second spell for the turn. And they can't double activate Bolas. I think... I think they're realizing right now that we have a legendary creature in play. Nice. They found the line. They found the line. Good game. Oh man, can you imagine? Can you... You know, actually, I guess Bolas has each opponent, right? Like, if your Bolas gets murdered in response, you don't lose the game. Am I correct in... Yeah, each opponent who doesn't control... Okay, so if we had been able to, like, murder their guy in response, we would not have actually won that game out of nowhere. But that would have been fun. It would have been great if they'd ulted there and then realized that it didn't do anything. Alright, so that was Jund Aggro. I don't feel like Pelt Collectors are going to be good here. I feel like in a Pelt Collector kind of deck, you want to be really all-in smashy Grill Spellbreaker, Skargan Hellkite, probably Paradise Druid to accelerate you out even faster. So I don't think I like this. Maybe Paradise Druid is good in this deck, and that's a thing we should think about. Because it does give us extra ways of just getting ahead, and really 4 is where we want to be, right? Because Rankle's amazing, Questing Beast is amazing. So maybe next time, maybe something like this. And Paradise Druid also helps fix our mana, just like Once Upon a Time does, while also not being super awkward later, because at the very least you're getting a 2/1 body out there for spending your 2 mana, instead of getting another card that then you have to spend more mana on later. So, Jeskai Fire is getting some revenge for their Grixis brethren there. It was a different player, I'm pretty sure. Not the same one. So, and I feel like maybe... I mean, Murderous Rider is so good. I think that maybe 4 isn't where we want to be in this deck. Like, maybe we just want to be a little bit more aggressive than that, because this is a low... It's a low aggression play. But it's also just so good. It's just so good. Blacklands Paragon really pitched in against the black deck there. Letting us eat their huge creatures out of nowhere. You know, eat a Questing Beast, gain 3, eat a Regisar, gain 3, but of course it is vulnerable to instant speed removal. And that is the difficulty with trying to stabilize off of a permanent, even if it has flash. Because if you're trying to stabilize, that inherently means that you are behind your opponent trying to catch up. And if the thing that you do to try to catch yourself up can be nullified just by your opponent spending a little more mana, that's a huge advantage for them. Because if it's the other way around, and you're ahead, and they can nullify your thing by spending mana, that's fine. You spent your mana, they spent their mana, you're still ahead. But if you're on the back foot, you spend your mana, they spend theirs to get rid of your thing, and you're still behind. That's not where you want to be. Whereas if you, like, you know, cast a Murderous Rider instead of a Blacklands Paragon, at the very least you're killing their thing. Like, their thing is off the board. You've broken their tempo up a little bit, in the very least by now they have to play another thing and they can't attack until next turn with it, because they're already on the combat step if you're playing it the way I think you probably should be. So anyway, considerations there. The mana base felt really good. Like, there was that one time when we needed to YOLO a Once Upon a Time, and it got us there, and we almost took Questing Beast, which... was that the game where we drew all of our questing? I think that was a different game than the one where we drew all of our questing beasts. But we also saw, too, how good questing beast was in this deck. Like, it's not a big surprise. The cat's out of the bag on that when everyone knows how good it is. But even without a way of giving it first strike like we have in the Teamer deck, it was still really good here. Knight felt quite good, although it's a little bit awkward sinking mana into it, because we have, this is giving us extra cards that we want to spend mana on. All the adventures are extra cards that we want to spend mana on. We're pinched on Knight mana, but it's still fine. We have lots of ways of triggering the life gain. Like, this guy triggers the life gain on his own. So does Questing Beast. Rankle does if you use the draw ability. And then Stormfist Crusader plus Knight is 4 damage on their own. Or, a couple Stormfists, and they have Menace, so you can't... and then, Order of Midnight helps you get in the air as well. Or, so lots of ways of buffing Knight of the Ebon Legion without actually activating it. And with the Paradise Druids, we'll have more mana to throw at it. So maybe with this version, it's actually a little better, because we have 1 less mana sink in Once Upon a Time, and then we have 1 additional mana dork here with Paradise Druid. Oh, and this should go down to just 1 mountain probably, shouldn't it? Because I had Embercleave in this deck. That was a little bit too much. So I took it out. That was definitely straining the mana base. So, okay, last question here then. Do we want 1 more Temple of Malady? I don't think so. I don't think I want another come into play tap land. We already have 5 come into play tap lands on the early turn, so I think this is just going to be another swamp. We have all of our shocks, right? Yeah, okay. Actually, no, this is going to be a Castle Lochtwain. I don't have any castles in here yet, so let's throw one of those in. That should be good. Yeah, so anyway, this was a lot of fun. It has a card that I love. It has another card that I love. Another card that I love. It's just all the cards that I love put together, except for Oko and the Royal Scions. Because if you want that, you play Absolute Greed. If you want that, you play Absolute Greed, and you probably get super punished for it, because I don't think this deck actually gains that much from running the black. But and also this mana, like, we might as well be playing Field of the Dead with this mana base, right? With how many 1-ofs we have just trying to make the mana work. Maybe if you go up to 26 lands, it's actually more doable. We do have Gilded Goose on Once Upon a Time, so... But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. It's been a couple hours. Going to call it there, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you see, give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let us know what we can do better. We'd love to hear feedback from you guys. Let us know what sort of things you would like to cover, what formats, what games. I've mentioned before that I'm thinking about doing some kind of like retro adventure game stuff, like Exile of Vernum Realms, those sorts of things. Maybe some Quest for Glory or something like that for you Quest for Glory Sierra fans. So let us know if you'd like to see that sort of thing. And yeah, just thanks for stopping by. It's always really fun doing these. Have fun out there. Good luck on the Standard Metagame Challenge if that is your cup of tea. And we will see you later. This has been Ben with the Tiger's Den, signing off.